This is 24 Inside.
You're in good hands. Now, if you haven't just seen episode 11, which is hours 5 to 6 p.m., I suggest you just turn off your computer right now because we are going to dish on everything that has just happened in tonight's episode and everything pretty much in the whole season, which is why I need my backup here, my live audience. Now, you guys, we talked about this a little before, but, you know, the problem daughter. In a way, it's kind of good she's gone, right? I mean... I know it's insensitive, but really, we got CTU, we got real problems, we got nuclear meltdowns here. Okay, so today we have a great episode because we are going to explore 24 truly inside and out, from how the sets are done to a key character who's been introduced this season. So first, give me a very warm round of applause for the character played. The character is Audrey Rain. She's played by Kim Raver. Responsible for how everything looks, production designer Joseph Hodges. Happy to see you guys. So now, first off, you got to know, to be Jack Bauer's girlfriend, I mean, Allstate wouldn't even insure you for that one. That is a dangerous job.
It is. I mean, I think all of us, especially this season, you know, we're sort of saying, you know, anyone is a target. I mean, you just, you know, being on 24, you just never know. Aisha and I were having a big laugh about that, you know.
I was so glad when she got killed. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Well, she was so bad.
Oh, but that's what's so exciting. She's like... But she's great, and we've had a lot of laughs. But we were sort of saying, you know, everyone's kind of got a target on them because you just never know, and it keeps you very present. You have to be very in the moment.
Yes, and then but maybe you could come back like Tony. You never know.
Unless you're shot, and then you're not coming back.
That's true. Totally out. Totally out.
But although you never do know. So.
Yeah. It'd be even more of a twist. Okay, now for people who are not in the biz and don't understand what a production designer is, tell us what you do, Joseph.
I basically take care of the look of the show. It's all the visuals, from building the sets, designing the sets, choosing locations. My location manager shows me photographs, but, you know, I point them in the right direction. And then all the computer graphics, you know, anything that you see, I try and get, you know, approval on. And
now, that is a tremendous amount because you have so many location changes in a given episode.
It's extraordinary what he does. It really is. I mean, the whole set, the whole look, the whole feel, and which I think was very different. I mean, he really created a different look.
So to make sure that, you know, the show looks like 24, it can't, you know, I have to try and get involved with everything.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's been a big part with you know, the change of CTU this season and everything. Well, we've got a lot of questions for you both. First, from the audience, Pat Bryant. There you go, Pat. Woohoo! You look great, Pat. Thanks for being here. Now, this kind of, you know, this is relevant to the episode we just saw. So, Kim, now that Audrey has seen the sort of the dark side of Jack, and Ben Baker also had this question, is that going to change your relationship when you see him torturing your husband?
Wow, that's an excellent question. That's a real character-driven question. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Audrey has seen Jack Bauer in a certain, you know, light, and then all of a sudden, with the circumstances that are happening of this day, seeing him in a completely different light. And I think that creates a real tension as to how do you continue a relationship when you've seen a side of someone that you didn't know really existed, even though you're very much in love with that person, and then certain circumstances start happening to, you know, to Audrey's ex. So I think Audrey right now is really at a point where she's torn between these two people, and there's a real interesting triangle.
Yeah.
But I do think that Audrey and Jack's love is incredibly deep and very strong. So that'll be the next journey as to how do they, you know, get through that. And is it something that Jack is going to continue, or is it just this day, or
because, you know, as the audience,
she's hoping
as the audience,
it's just this day.
But, you know, watching it, I'm like, God, Audrey, get in the hallway. This is his job. You know, weren't we just like, he's got to get the information, right? You know, so it's like...
Yeah, but see, that's a very, like, there's so much at stake for Audrey, and I think that's what's so amazing about 24 is the writers, it's not just one level. I mean, yeah, he's got to get the information, but it's her ex-husband, and is he a terrorist? And wait a minute, I'm with Jack Bauer, who's torturing my ex-husband. I mean, it just kind of keeps going on and on and on.
I mean, just because he's kind of an annoying English guy isn't good enough to just torture him. You know? All right, now, a pleasant Englishman here. No.
Exactly, you better be careful.
All right, Joseph, we have an email question from Matt in London, Connecticut. The set for the IDS company, and that's where stuff's really going down, where the override is, was really a bright white, which contrasts with the rest of the show. What was your intention there?
We just had a location that was that size, and I couldn't afford to paint it. So.
I thought it kind of went with that could anywhere sterile office.
It was just that sterile office, and what we did to try and brighten it up, we had the big logos on the back walls, the IDS, and then on the office, the screens, we added the plexi with the logo again, because again with 24 you want to shoot through things. So you know
you want to shoot through things. What do you mean?
Yeah, or you always want some foreground.
Oh, okay.
You always want to make the audience feel that they're in that space. So with the office dividers, if you put a piece of plexi above them, and then we put the IDS logo, the camera's shooting behind it, or when you're shooting back at Jack, you feel, you know, there's something in between you and the actor.
Oh, very cool. Okay, Kim, email question from Ryan in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Canada, Kiva would be very happy. A lot of Canadians.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Canadian guy, yeah, for sure. We get him from all over. Okay, do you get to bitch slap your husband during interrogation? Paul is such a jerk. See, I'm not the only one that thinks he's annoying. Please say you do. I'm sure he is up to no good. But we're going to see some anger.
Do I get to bitch slap? Wow.
Or would you want to?
I don't even know how to answer that question.
That's okay.
It sounds like a Chris Rock question.
Yeah, right. All right, well, let's move on. Okay, so Harry Lewis in the audience. Thank you, Harry. Joseph, this question's for you. Very relevant. Is the CTU set modeled after any real command center? Did you, like, see...
No, it's all fantasy. It's all... I mean, with 24, I tried to create a world that you as an audience enjoy. With all the reality television, and including West Wing and ER, it's still set... You know the West Wing, and what I tried to do from when we started 24 is to create spaces that you enjoy. You know, it's the same as a Bond movie.
It is kind of Bond-esque, CTU.
It's just trying to entertain you, rather than the same old show. When you watch 24 and they spend millions on the commercials in between, and they spend a lot of money on the look. I want the cut between 24 and the commercials. I don't want there to be a difference. I want it to be as high gloss as those commercials, and just create a world of 24.
But you know what was a cool contrast is when Aisha Tyler character, when she's trying to escape, is when you leave CTU and you saw it's just a regular parking lot, so just a regular street, and that kind of gave the viewer like, ooh, CTU could be anywhere, you don't know where it is, because it had almost a spaceship feel. But it's just
when we did shoot, there are some wider shots. There are two huge pieces of structure outside of CTU that have those curves. And I don't think until you get to episode 15 or 16 you're actually going to see that.
Okay.
But it was based on the exterior, because there's a building next door or a couple of blocks away. I used those pieces, but the rest, it's all just fantasy, and it just works for creating a space that works for us in 24 to shoot all those scenes.
Okay, what were you saying, Kim?
But I think that's what's interesting, actually, about 24 is that contrast between sort of this, like, fantasy and then the reality. And that's kind of what brings you into that world of, oh, where could this be? This could be next door, or this could not be next door. Yeah. And it's very, in a way, accessible, but yet then you have, like, this heightened reality, which is great and sort of fantastical. Yeah. But especially with the material, too. It's very relevant to what is going on in the world today, and that's what makes it so terrifying, I think.
The everyday. Two sets that I've always was interested in. Well, one was Palmer's president sort of bunker, and was that really calculated, like you wanted to make this sort of like almost post-nuclear president sort of office?
Yeah, no, I based it on sort of that 1960s architecture. You know, they were building the Apollo stuff, and I just wanted to give it that 60s feel. So it wasn't based on anything in particular. I just, again, you design a space that works for the scenes.
Stylistically.
And just I just play with it. I try
And then the other one I love is Tony Almeida's like crash pad. You know, like oh, Tony's really down on his luck. He says this crappy house in North Hollywood.
I sat down on his couch and I swear to God, literally, I mean, it was like I was like, whoa, that's really like some couch.
Those sets like that are really the only thing that we try and, you know, when the writers say it's a down and out, you know, he's down and on his luck, then yeah, we'll pick a location that looks run down outside.
Right.
And then I did build the interior on stage.
Thank God, because the interior that we were in before, we were like, woo!
Really?
Yeah.
I know.
No offense to that person, but
And it's all, and you know, they're always very small spaces. You know, that space, the set on stage is the same size as the real house, but it's all ends up being one room, whereas the real house was all, you know, broken up into small kitchens.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right, Kim, here's email from Linda Tennant in Fort Mill, South Carolina. I hope to see Audrey lose some of her vulnerability and really get angry, especially at her ex. But she does have kind of an even temperament, even when she's being held hostage.
Well, it's interesting. I think great questions. I mean, you have to think of it also in the 24 hours. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of finding an arc for your character and so that you can sustain something. And I think it's really interesting. I think, yeah, I mean, there are going to be things that Audrey will have to deal with Jack. And I think you will see different sides.
Okay, see a little
her,
fire
without
there.
giving too much away.
Good. I know. I think it's very, you have to be very careful. An email question from Will in Miami for you, Joseph. Other than the new CTU sets, what are some sets that you've been really proud of that you've done?
The truth is, you know, everything we do.
Just to get it done.
Yeah, everything is sort of. You know, we don't have we have a limited budget, so we always push that budget to its limit. So every set, I'm proud of that when we pull it off. That
Yeah.
it's, you know, there on time and sort of looks decent.
Okay. Oh, we got a couple here. Robert and Anna Urena. Hi, guys. Okay, question for you, Kim. Are you looking forward to being Miss Jack Bauer, or are you afraid you're going to be dead by the end of the season? That's what I'm thinking.
That's so great. I'm
Like,
sure like no
too bad
other
Audrey
person
Hepburn
like is afraid to be like the missus. They always want to be the missus, but with Jack Bauer, you're like, oh, I don't know.
It's like dating one of the boys on Ponderosa. You know, you knew they were curtains.
God. You know, there's I'm sure Audrey before this 24 hours, you know, was looking forward to being Mrs. Jack Bauer. I'm not quite sure, like, in the realm of today.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I think what's interesting about Audrey is it's not really about that for her. I mean, I think that's why their relationship is so deep and so different than other relationships is that she understands Jack Bauer. There's just new circumstances that are coming into her life that she's having to deal with, like with any relationship. I mean, except this one is kind of extraordinary.
Yeah.
You know, you don't always have your fiancé to be your boyfriend saving the world and chasing after Marwan, who's about to, you know, nuke the entire country. But I think that she definitely wants to make this relationship work. And it's kind of, that question is kind of two parts. I mean, does Kim Raver, you know, not want to be Mrs. Jack Bauer because I know that'll be the end of the season for me?
And when would you have time to get married anyway?
No, but again, I think it's that same sort of thing. Like, you never know. I mean, no matter what role you have. I mean, you know, this year there's a whole new cast and some people coming back. And so I really think what's so great about that is it really forces you to be in the moment, which is really rare for anyone.
And what about working with William Devane, who I've always loved?
Oh, he's just amazing. I mean, not only does he have the most unbelievable stories in between takes. I mean, I
Oh,
literally have to be
Debbie.
like, I have to focus. Just go, you know, just stop with the stories. But he's just, you know, he's amazing. He can be goofing around and sort of just drop into character. And
Total pro.
And he's been doing this for a really, you know, long time. And but we had a great time together.
Well, I read it. He said that he felt like you guys clicked right away in your relationship.
Yeah, I mean, our first day, literally, like, we shook hands, and the next thing I know is, like, MP came over, he's our props guy, and was, like, bounding my wrists and gagging me and blindfolding me, and then, like, William Devane and I are, like, rolling around in the back of, like, a truck, you know, like our first terrorist day. So you get close really quickly.
Yeah, I bet. Okay, email from Mike in Maryland. Joseph, are there any sets you wish you had more time to perfect when you saw the finished product? You were like, oh.
No, it never gets to that
No,
stage.
you just move on. Moving right on. Okay, email question for you, Kim, from Rain. Is it difficult to play a role when you're given such limited information about what's going to happen next?
It's definitely, it's definitely interesting because it's not like a film where you get the script and
Right.
you know, okay, it
know the
starts
story
here
arc.
and it goes there. I mean, you sort of start here and you're like, oh, wow, I'm doing that. Oh, wow, okay, and I'm doing that. And but it kind of goes back to what I'm saying about it's a great exercise for an actor because
it forces you to be in the moment.
It forces you to be in the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, which is similar, kind of when I was doing Third Watch in New York. I mean, you get to really, in New York, I was getting to use the elements because they're all right there, so you get to kind of use that. But I think it's kind of exciting that way because it's never boring. I get a script and you're just, things jump out and you're getting, like I had no idea I was going to be shooting a gun this year, and that was unbelievable. I mean,
Did they train you for that?
Oh yeah, so that was great.
Very cool. All right, and Angie Morellis? Okay, Angie is a very good question, Kim. Kiefer's lips look really soft. What's it like to kiss him?
I never kiss and tell.
Oh. It looked good, especially right in the beginning when the season started.
I mean, he's
it was
great.
pretty heated.
I have to say, he's one of those extraordinary actors that you kind of like come across and you're so grateful that you're in this business. And he's so gracious and so talented, and we were both nervous. I mean, that was my second, my first day was rolling around in the truck handcuffed, and then my second day was meeting Kiefer, and basically we shook hands and we were then kissing. So, I mean, and it seems all like, wow, but literally it's like, oh, okay, wait, my nose just bumped into yours, and wait, the lighting is, we have to like figure it out. And
we've got gum. Yeah.
Yeah, you got gum. No, but I feel very, very fortunate. He's really quite special and a very good kisser.
Oh, there you go. Yay. That's what we wanted. Okay, Joseph, from Dana McDonald in LaGrange Park, Illinois. You once mentioned that the artwork, boy, people really know this show. You once mentioned that the artwork on the show is all original. And why is that? And does that include the Palmer flag painting, which I don't even know what that is?
Well, if I don't do the artwork myself, then we're just renting stuff that you see on any other show.
Okay.
So from day one, on whatever job I've been doing, I've always tried to create it. I don't always have the time, but stuff like the virus hotel. Again, I thought because it was a modern-looking hotel, and with this virus, I wanted to play with the artwork. So it was all sort of mazes and that sort of Aesop type stuff. But usually, I prefer, if I've got the opportunity, why not do our own stuff? And with the Palmer painting, again, to me, no one else on the show, but to me, 24 isn't set in America. It's sort of in an American place, or we're implying that it's American. So again, rather than having a big flag behind the president, I did it was obviously the American flag, but it's abstract. So I just don't want it to be in everybody's face.
Okay, well, that follows up with an email question from Stickbus, who said, was the art in the virus hotel supposed to look like, it was supposed to look like a virus?
Yeah.
It was supposed to, it fitted the mood.
It fitted the move of doom. All right, so, Kim, do you think Jack Bauer is Kim Raver's type of man?
I think Jack Bauer is like sort of your, it's going to sound strange, but sort of your dream man. I mean, he is like, the man who comes in on like the white horse. I was talking on the fan phone actually with this really great girl, and she said that the scene where like Tony comes and saves Jack and me, and like that's like a huge moment for her, and she watches it all the time. And so I think it plays into like all of like those things that, I don't know whether...
Right,
for girls, damsel, like,
yeah.
And that Jack is, sort of saving you, and that there is someone out there that can protect us.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, it's a great it's a great feeling, knowing that there is a man out there that can sort of come and, like, rescue you. And,
yeah, and then maybe bring you coffee in the morning.
Yeah. But I also think what's interesting about the women on 24 is they're not just damsels in distress. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're very smart, they're very proactive, they're really good at what they do, and so that's kind of great, being able to sort of play that as well as, like, being opposite, this great Jack Bauer kind of manly man.
Fully rounded. Okay, that question was from Gustav in Spain. I don't know if I mentioned that. But you brought up a good point, which was the fan phone. Now, when we see a number like when Poor Little Debbie was done in by the terrorist T, that phone number actually rings on set? Can you explain that? Was there something like that?
Well, the fan phone originated because we usually do inserts. So just to see
an insert is when all of a sudden you see the number on the phone. It's like an insert of that phone with that number.
But I think because John shot it, he came off the body and we saw the phone, and it was the prop guy's number that came up, just so that we could read Mum. But it was on for a split second, and then the following day it started, or I think during the episode it started to ring. And then John Cassar just decided we should keep it going. And I think in the first 2 weeks, because John and I were out scouting a lot, and we either sit in the back of a van and stare out the window, or we decided to take a lot of these calls, and it was just amazing. I mean, we had like 80,000 the first week.
Oh my God, weren't you worn out?
Well, we don't.
He didn't talk to all 80,000 people.
I mean, literally, when you're on the phone,
made.
it beeps the whole time. I mean, people are trying to get through.
Which is amazing. I mean, it kind of was a fluke.
Yeah.
And that the fans, could pick up this number, and then it just sort of created this thing, and it's really been amazing for all of us to sort of be in contact with the fans, and
because you don't get that like in theater, the audience is with you, and in TV you are a little bit in a bubble. You don't know, am I connecting?
Yeah, and so it's pretty extraordinary, and the fans are really like intelligent, and like you say they're picking up on like the artwork, and they're really observant, and I think it's pretty wild. And I mean, I got a phone call from this girl calling from Australia during her lunch break. I mean, that's just amazing to me. I mean, that's just amazing, and it's I think a great thing for them to be able to kind of be watching us on television, and then I mean, you guys, most of you, I don't know, live out here or around here coming to visit, but for someone to actually be able to kind of click in, and someone's like, I heard action in the background. This is Hollywood, So it's pretty amazing, and it's kind of a nice thing that it's actually turned out to kind of be us giving back something to them.
Yeah, it's nice you guys do that. Okay, Scott Long in the audience here. All right, Kim, what are the biggest differences between working on Third Watch and 24?
Well, first of all, Third Watch is out in New York, and that's a whole thing within itself. I mean, the elements in New York are just unbelievable. I mean, December, January, and February, I've never been so cold in my entire life. And I'm from New York.
Yeah.
But we shoot 16-hour days out there. But I think the stamina that I got from working on Third Watch, I was able to kind of bring to this show, because this show moves really fast. And there's a lot, and sometimes a lot of technical dialogue. And, being on Third Watch, I also had a lot of technical medical dialogue. And so I feel like I kind of got that, that pace, under my belt. But the characters are totally different, and that's what
that's nice.
Yeah, which is just so, as an actor, it's just a great thing for me to kind of be able to do something completely different, and that's why I jumped at that opportunity to play this role.
Great role. All right, one last one from FEMA in the audience for Joseph. 2 episodes ago, what was the significance of Jack looking at the photo that was him in the background with Heller? Now, I have my theory. I think he looked at it because he felt bad, because he knew the terrorist guys were watching him and he didn't protect the Hellers. That's my
it was just to show that they had been observing the 3 of them.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a creepy, that kind of creepy thing, like when someone's watching you and you don't know it, but then it's putting all the pieces together.
Yeah, but I just think he's so Mr. Responsible that he's looking at that going, oh my God, I let these boobs look at me, and...
But that's what's interesting about the show is, I think, or art, is that you have instead of spelling everything out on this show, it gives you an image or it gives you something, and you come away with that idea, and maybe you come away with another idea, and it allows you to interpret your own thing.
Yeah.
God,
is there a horn stuck?
Yeah, right. We're actually in New York.
Yeah, right, exactly. All right, well, I want to thank you both so much for being here. Kim Raver, Joseph Hodges, giving us a lot of good insight to 24. 24 Insight has been brought to you by Allstate. You're in good hands. Join us next time where we're going to get more dish and more background on 24.